Hello students, now we're going to look at the solution to number 4, multiple choice, which of course is on page 39. This is chapter 3 sample quiz. There's 5 multiple choice and 5 videos to accompany that. So here's number 4. Now number 4 is asking us to completely factor this trinomial. 3x squared plus 18x plus 27. Now, very first rule of all factoring is take out any common factor, right? So we're looking for GCF. Does this have, what is the greatest common factor? And if there is one, this step always happens first. So this is for all factoring. Any type of factoring you do, you always look to remove a common factor. Now have a look at each term. Well, if we look at the numbers, I 3, I got 18, and we got 27. Is there a number that can divide into all 3 evenly? And if so, what's the highest or largest, greatest common factor that can divide? And very quickly you can come up with the number 3, I think here. 3 goes into 18, 3 goes also into 27. Now check the variables. I have an x squared, I have an x, but there's no x term in the last one, so no variable common. Therefore the only common factor here is 3. So I remove 3. Now removing a GCF is the same as dividing each term by 3. So you divide this by 3. What do you get? 1x squared. Right? So this is now, so factoring is a form of division. Divide this by 3. What do you get? You get 6x. And divide the last term by 3. What do you get? You get 9. So it's x squared plus 6x plus 9. Now then you have to see if the trinomial is any, can we factor this any further? So all we do with the 3 is leave it down in front. So the 3 is still part of the solution. The question is, does the trinomial factor? Now since 3 is out in front, we can see that C can't be an answer. They didn't, in C, they did not factor out the common 3. Okay? Now let's take this trinomial to the side here, and let's see how we're going to factor it. One of the ways you've been taught to factor a trinomial is use what's called product sum or decomposition. In other words, what two numbers multiply to give you the leading coefficient, which is 1. Whoops, let's fix that. Which is 1, right, times 9. So what two numbers multiply to give you 9? So in other words, I'm looking for a product of 9, so I'll call it P for product. So what two numbers multiply to give you 1 times 9, which of course is 9, and what two numbers add together, so I'll call it S for sum, add together to give you 6. Okay, so quickly you can come up with those. I think most people can see now that 3 and 3 would work. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 plus 3 is 6. So what do we do with these two numbers once we find them? Well, this number here will break down, the middle term breaks down to the two numbers you just found. So that plus 6x becomes plus 3x plus 3x, right? And carry down the 9, don't do anything with the 9, and you carry down the x squared. So we just changed from a trinomial to a 4-term concept. Now 4 terms allows us to factor by grouping. So look at the first group. Now ignore this group for a second. Just look at the first group of 2 terms. Now you'll see that there's a 3 common. So again, we use a common factor idea, and we're left with x plus 3. Now do the factoring of the back 2 terms, and you can see a 3 is common, and you're left with x plus 3. Now if you do this correctly, now I'm doing a very formal method. A lot of you see the answer, I know, because this is a simple trinomial. I know some of you see the answer long before this. Well, look, there's an x plus 3 common, and they got to come out to be the same when you use this method. If they're not the same factor, then there's a mistake along the way, or it's not factorable. So if I remove that from each term, x plus 3, all you're left with then is these 2 terms, which is your second factor, x plus 3. So there it is factored. Now most of you saw that right away because it's a simple trinomial. You didn't have to do all these steps. However, I just showed you formally how to go through it step by step. Now a lot of you could go from here right to here, I'm sure, because this is a simple trinomial, right? You didn't have to do all of the method I did on the side there. Therefore, that's our answer. Now if you look up, you don't see that. Okay. However, if you look at the D here, it has x plus 3 squared. And I could write that. So I'll put an or down here. We could have x plus 3 times x plus 3. And because they're the same factor, I could write it like this as well. So both answers are correct. However, the one we see in our choices is D. So the answer to this one is D.